What up, guys? So today we're joined by my cat. He's poor guy. He's about 15 years old, and he's only got a few more weeks to live. So he gets some special privileges that weren't allowed to him normally. Usually I don't let him down here in the office when I'm doing videos because he likes to sit here and just sort of like rub against me, but we only got a few more weeks together, so it is what it is. Anyway, today we got a question from a young guy. He'll be a Bob question because he wants to remain anonymous. He's 17 years old. He says he's sort of a skinny fat physique. He's always been on the weaker side compared to other boys his age. When he was younger, he was overweight, trained jiu-jitsu a little bit, but doesn't remember much. Later on, he wrestled in high school for a season, but hated it, said the coach overworked us, and everyone was constantly injured and exhausted. He wasn't very good at it either, which probably puts that's probably the main reason you were like, I don't want to do this, right? He said, after that, I'm kind of scared of combat sports. I'm thinking of starting jiu-jitsu, and my goals are to get in better shape, get stronger, and have fun, most importantly. There is a local gym that is expensive, but my friends who go there say it's a casual gym and has a great community. Should I start doing jiu-jitsu? Is it worth the money and time for something I still have to develop a passion towards? I guess I'm also asking, like, how do you fall in love with jiu-jitsu? It's an interesting question. And he says, is it worth the money, to do that? So from there, he goes and says, sorry, long question, but he's he's curious about it. So, bro, thank you for the question. So a lot to unpack in there, right? I'm coming to you from the standpoint of thinking about the way my mind operated when I was like 17 and 18 years old, right? So first off, we'll get to the falling in love part because that's the part that I really wanted to unpack, because this is something where everybody's searching for, especially at your age, bro. You're trying to find your thing, right? You're 17 years old. You're getting ready to, become 18 and become an adult, right? Whatever that is at that point. And you then are supposed to like figure your life out. And, when you're young, it's like you're searching for your thing. You asked, is it worth the money? It's worth the money. Even if you don't come to love jiu-jitsu, if it's a complete and utter failure, it's worth the money, right? A lot of times people are so worried about, is it worth the time to make a mistake? Is it worth the money to make a mistake? Hell yeah, it is. Because the worst thing that you could do, especially your time frame now, you're young, right? The worst possible thing that you could do is not experience and try things out to figure yourself out. That's how you find yourself. That's how you find out what your thing is going to be. You're not going to be sitting down one day and going, I have it. I'm going to be passionate about this thing. You find your passion by doing things with action. And it's better to have a bad plan, a plan that is an utter failure, that at least you had action, than do nothing at all. Because you can always change course, right? You can always do something else. You can always find, hey, jiu-jitsu is not the thing. Let me mark that off the list. Because otherwise, bro, you're always going to look at it and go, I wonder what if, right? So many people do this. They think about doing something, but they never do it. And they always go, man, what if I would have? That's not where you want to be. So yes, it's worth it. 100%, the money, the time, the whole deal. Even if you end up hating jiu-jitsu, it's all worth it. Now, let's talk about the love part. So a lot of people, I think, get into jiu-jitsu with this, like, we listen to other people. Maybe you listen to me because I love grappling. I'm in love with grappling. And a lot of people listen to people like me and they go, well, that guy's so passionate about it. Maybe I'll be passionate about it too. And they get into it with that kind of sort of clinginess early on to it, right? Like, so for instance, a lot of times I compare the relationship with grappling and things like that. In some ways, obviously it's very different, but in some ways to the relationship that I have with my wife. When me and my wife, when we met, I made a pass at her. She shot me down. And so we just became friends for a while. And during our friendship phase, I remember we would just like go to lunch sometimes. And I remember we would have these conversations about the dates we were going on. And I remember we started to talk about people being very clingy very early on. One guy in particular for her, had a kid and they'd been maybe hanging out for 2 weeks. She wasn't feeling it. So she said, hey, I'm going to, I don't want to see you anymore. And, no big deal. Just 2 weeks. It's not a big deal. We're just like, we're feeling each other out. It's not right for me. We're moving on. And he's like, no. You're the perfect mother for my kid, because he had a son or something. And she's, whoa, it's a little too soon for 2 weeks, right? I remember I was telling her about a story where I had dated a woman for we went on maybe 2 dates, right? So like a little over a week. And then she surprises me because I'm meeting her at this event, this little festival that's going on. And boom, I'm meeting her parents and everything else. And she's presenting us as this like couple. Not as like, hey, we just started dating. No, it's like, hey, this is my boyfriend. I'm like, oh, snaps. I didn't realize that. We hadn't talked about that. A little clingy, right? Me and my wife, though, when we got into our relationship, there was no clinginess about it. We enjoyed each other's company, but neither one of us was going into it like, you're going to be this person that's going to change my life or whatever. It happened, right? We've made each other's lives better, but it sort of just blossomed from that. When I got into wrestling, and I just share this because I'm giving you experiences to sort of lean on, and maybe this gets your head to think about possibilities, right? When I got into wrestling, in my start in grappling, I didn't get into it because I was like, I'm going to be passionate about grappling. I'm going to love grappling. Grappling's going to change my life. In 20 years, I'm going to be some asshole on the internet talking to people about grappling. I got into it because I was on the football field. All the guys that I liked the most, all the wrestlers or all the football players who were the best in shape, that were like just the most impressive dudes. The guys that I like looked up to, all the upperclassmen that I looked up to, they all wrestled. And so they were talking about wrestling. I was like, I guess I should go wrestle then. And I got into wrestling, and then I just loved it, right? I just enjoyed it so much. And it went from there. Now, how do I know that I love grappling? How do I know that I love my wife, right? Well, with my wife, the way that I know her, that I know that I love her, and we've talked about this, is that sometimes, we don't have knockout, drag-out fights, but we grump at each other. We'll get grumpy at each other. Everybody gets grumpy with their spouse. We've been together, hell, for like over 11 years. We're going to get grumpy sometimes. And in those moments where I'm grumpy, not even for an instant do I not want to be in the relationship. I'm literally pissy about something. I don't want to look at her. I'm just going to go go outside and go for a walk or grump or go lift weights or whatever to blow off some steam. But even in that grumpy moment, I'm like, there's nobody else I would rather spend my life with than that woman, right? So it's it's kind of even hard to be mad because I'm like, I freaking love her. But that's how I know, because even in our worst moments, that's my wife, and that's who I want to be with. Grappling's the same way, right? Like when my first year of wrestling, it sucked, bro. You talked about you weren't good at it. I wasn't good at it either. My first year of wrestling, I won one match, lost a match, and then I got my shoulder separated during a wrestle off where, guy dumped me on my shoulder. I fell, and that was that. And then I spent the rest of the season out. I couldn't train really much anymore. I would still go into the wrestling room and I would run some stairs and do what I could, but I was injured, right? The next year I come back and I have a 50-50 record. So I'm winning some, losing some. Not great, but winning some. And then every time there was a guy on the team who would he was kind of screwing off and not doing the best things. And so he was constantly in and out of fluctuation between being academically eligible and ineligible to compete and to do wrestling. And so he took my spot multiple times that year from the varsity, and he did his thing, and he was better than me that year. And so I didn't get to wrestle my varsity spot very often my second year. And then my third year, which was my last year wrestling, because I didn't start my first year in high school. My last year in high school wrestling, I had a great year. Won a lot of matches, did really well for myself. And then in 2 weeks before the state tournament, I tore my meniscus cartilage at a competition. I tore at regionals and tore my meniscus cartilage. Ended up winning the tournament, but my knee was jacked up. It was constantly locking in place. Couldn't really shoot, which is a bit of a hindrance with my style of wrestling and just wrestling in general, right, where you can't shoot in on your leg anymore. And I ended up losing in the state tournament to a guy I had beaten so many times before, right? Now, in all of those instances in wrestling, there was nothing else I wanted to do more than wrestle. I loved it. I just wanted to be in there. I wanted to be in on the mats. That's all I wanted to do. Same thing with Jiu-Jitsu. I've been injured many times over the years, right? I've been doing it for over 20 plus years. I've been injured. I've had surgeries. I've had just whatever, stuff gets in the way. And even in those rough moments, there's nowhere else I want to be than on the mats. I will literally, I remember being like a young blue and purple belt, being injured for some reason. I'd schlep my butt to the gym and like hold a stopwatch just so I could be a part of it. I remember there was a point where I was a purple belt and I talked to my coach. I was injured, but I was like, could I come in and, hold a timer for you, maybe help out some of the newer guys that are struggling with the techniques and just give them some adjustments if they need help, just to be an assistant coach? He's like, sure. I just wanted to be on the mats. That's how I know I love it, right? So going back to you, how do you fall in love with jiu-jitsu, right? Well, I don't think you go into it thinking you're going to have this like amazing passion for it. Maybe you do. I don't know, bro. You're still trying to figure yourself out, and jiu-jitsu might be your thing. It might be. Then again, it might be something else. Jiu-jitsu's not for everybody. That whole thing, jiu-jitsu's for everybody. Yay. No, it's not. Anybody can do it, but it's not for everybody. And so you got to find your thing. You got to find what you want to do. And so when you go to the jiu-jitsu gym, just go into it with no expectations. Because going into it, again, you don't want to be like a stage 5 clinger to grappling, kind of like with my wife and I, the relationships we were having, it kind of pulls back and it creates problems. If you go into jiu-jitsu with this thing, like, it's going to change my life, it's going to give me passion, it's going to give me this, maybe it does, but if it doesn't immediately do that, you're going to be looking around like, okay, where's the magic that everybody's talking about? I don't feel it. It's like the people that do like meditation and they do like one sit. They'll like sit down for like 5 minutes and then they're like not getting enlightenment. They're like, where is it? Like, it might take a little while. This isn't exactly like it's not a TikTok video. It's not fast. Jiu-jitsu is the same way. It's not a fast process, bro. You're going to go through a lot of suck before you get better at it. And you won't really know if you love jiu-jitsu until you get kind of good at it and you're able to play the game. And so what I would tell you is your job would be to go around, try out all the gyms. Don't just try that one gym. Go around the area that you have and try whatever gyms are available to you. Find the gym that seems like the best fit for you and start training. And make your goal just like 1 year. Like, I don't care if you don't feel like it. I don't care if you're not having the best day or maybe your toes a little tweaked. I don't care what's going on. 1 year, just keep going. Now, obviously, if you get seriously injured or something, that's different, but probably not going to happen. So keep training for a solid year because that's going to give you some actual, like, am I going to enjoy this? Because it's going to be a rough go in the beginning. Your body's going to have to toughen up. You're going to be very sore. You're not going to be very good. But after a year, you'll have a good idea as to whether or not, like, first off, you'll have some skill. You'll be able to beat some people. And you'll kind of know, like, is this really for me? Because a lot of people, when they get into jiu-jitsu, especially if they have big expectations for themselves, as soon as they get into a couple months and they're not doing great, they kind of like get frustrated and they kick the floor and go shucks, and they just want to take their ball and go home. One of the things I tell people is one of the best things to do is keep going until you get good at it, until you get your hand raised, until you know what that other side feels like, because otherwise you don't have contrast. It's like someone who's trying to change their diet and they change it for like 1 day, and they're like, I don't feel any different than I did on my crappy diet. What's the big deal? Do it for like 2 months and let me know how you feel after that. Because again, then you're going to have the effects of it. It's really hard to experience the benefits of jiu-jitsu and the things that it can give you in a really short-term time. So I don't know if those analogies worked for you, but that's kind of where my head was going at it. Let it develop like a relationship, but don't put any weight on it. Don't put any like expectation on it. Just let it happen. Enjoy it for what it is and just see where it goes. And understand that it may not be your thing. And that's completely okay. It doesn't make it wrong. Just try it. And then if it doesn't work out for you and you've trained for a year, you're really not into it, well, you're at least going to have some skill. You'll have some ability to defend yourself. So that's good, right? You'll have some ability to fight. And then you can move on to something else that you might enjoy, right? But that would be my sort of suggestion to you. And again, maybe some people would say you shouldn't wait a whole year, but if you're really thinking about this, you've grappled before, you've done jiu-jitsu before, you're coming back to it again years later, I think it's a good idea to, really dig in there and figure out if it's for you. And you're not going to be able to figure that out like that. It's going to take a little bit. And at your age, a year is not going to be that big of a deal. It'll fly by and you'll have some good experiences from it. You'll be able to gauge whether or not this thing's for you. So anyway, brother, hopefully that helps you. Hopefully that you got something from it. Anybody else having that sort of question, hopefully it helps you as well. By the way, guys, just sharing this with you. If you would like to get my daily email, you can do so by going to, there's probably links and stuff down below. I have a daily email that I send out. It goes through everything from specific reading lists of the books that I'm reading to specific jiu-jitsu tips, dieting stuff, lifting weights, of anything that I think is interesting that is worth sharing, I put it in there. And on top of that, if you join, you'll get this special ebook that I give away for free, which is just to give you some ideas on how to train with more focus in the gym. 100% free, no pressure to do it if you don't want. But if you want to check it out, down in the links below. Otherwise, guys, thank you for being here. And brother, good luck with your search in Jiu-Jitsu if you get into it. And talk to you guys next time.